Welcome back everybody to another Fortnite Battle Royale special. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 tips and tricks to help you be able to exceed in Fortnite Battle Royale. I have searched all across the web looking for tips and tricks that helped me. And now what I did was I compiled them from number 1 all the way to number 10. That way you can prevent yourself from being this guy. Or this guy. And of course, nobody can ever forget about this guy. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into the video. Make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and if you'd like to see more Fortnite Battle Royale tips from yours truly, make sure to leave a comment down below on what you would like to see in the next Fortnite Battle Royale video. These first 4 tips that we're going to be talking about are mainly located inside of your settings tab in Fortnite Battle Royale. It's extremely important to make sure that you go through each of the setting tabs and look at what each one does and determine what settings are best for you. We are going to go over now the first 4 tips which fall under the settings category of what you should immediately adjust before jumping into the heat of a battle. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Coming in at number 1, we have our key bindings. Key bindings, now most people know when you start playing Fortnite Battle Royale that you need to rebind the keys, because when they're set up for the Save the World, you don't really use your stairs or your walls as much in an action-packed game like that. So when you're playing the Battle Royale edition, you want to assure yourself that when you get into the heat of a battle, your stairs, your roof, your floor, your walls are all extremely close by your main movement buttons like your WASD keys as well as your shooting buttons. For example, my wall is bound to my mouse button. Therefore, if I start getting shot at, I immediately know to press that button real quick and start putting walls around me so I can assess the situation and find out where the bullets are coming from. From there, my ramp and my floor are all really close to my movement keys, my WASD, so that I know if I need to ramp up or if I need to build a bridge across to something or someone, I easily can press those buttons to quickly get to where I need to be. This is extremely important because what happens is you end up building a muscle memory. Muscle memory is when your fingers know exactly where they need to go in intense situations or when under pressure. This is extremely important because when you start to get into battles or, gunfights or build battles, you want to make sure that your brain is trained to know exactly what button to press in any situation, whether you need the floor or if you need to pull out your stairs or you need to put up a wall. You want to ensure that everything is right there ready to go. So make sure to go through all of the key bindings and adjust the ones accordingly. If you play a match and you find yourself struggling to find a certain key or you press a different button expecting it to be that, that key, like if you press your Q button expecting to pull out a roof but you pull out your stairs and, adjust it accordingly. Play around with it, figure out which way best suits you. Going alongside your key bindings is the mouse sensitivity. Now, mouse sensitivity is possibly just as important as your key bindings. If you are like me and when you start to get into an intense battle, you start to shake or get nervous, you want to make sure that your mouse is not shooting all over the place and you're shooting bullets into the sky. You want to make sure that every shot connects because it's going to be the difference between winning or losing a match. So, adjust the mouse sensitivity, play around with it. Mine, for example, is at 0.23. This is comfortable for me because I do have a larger mouse pad, which allows me to be able to lower my mouse sensitivity because I have more room to move the mouse back and forth on the pad. If you have a smaller mouse pad, you may have to up your sensitivity a little bit higher or, adjust it accordingly to make it more comfortable for you to play. Coming in at number 2, we have the graphics settings. Now, your graphics settings contain a lot of fancy stuff that makes the game look exciting and more pleasurable to the eye. Now, not necessarily every time is exciting and pleasurable to the eye best for your gameplay. If you look at any pro that's streaming out there or making videos, you'll notice one thing, and I've never seen this mentioned in any other videos before, and I think it makes a huge difference, is the shadows. If you notice all those players, they all you can see crystal clear everything. Every little corner of the map is as bright as can be. The reason for that, they turn the shadows off. Turn the shadows on, and you can't see anything. Everything becomes extremely dark, making it very easy for someone to slip by or sneak up behind you. Now, turn the shadows off, and everything becomes very clear. Nothing is shadowed anymore. Everything's lit up. Making this one little change will dramatically increase your fights when you're going tilted, going shifty shafts, even in the retail row. All the places where there's buildings or lots of trees, welling willows, all those places, they're going to make a huge difference. They're all going to be more lit up now, making it much more easier to see. Now, the second thing in the graphics that you want to adjust is the effects. Again, effects make things look beautiful, but beauty is not what we're going for. We're going for technique. Turn off the effects. When you turn the effects off, it reduces those clouds of smoke, those particles that you see in the air that can blind your vision and blind your sight to be able to see somebody on the other side who might be trying to shoot at you. By turning them down to low, it reduces the amount of particles in the air, making it clear much faster. Now, this is something that is mainly for low-end computers, but what it also does for those that have a high-end computer or are just trying to improve their gameplay, it reduces all those particles, making it easier to see. This simple little tip will make it much easier for you. Coming in at number 3, we have sound. Now, sound is probably the one factor that most people take for granted in Fortnite. Yes, there's not too much you can control on the settings aspect other than making sure that the sound effects volume is turned all the way up. What this will do is provide that ambient noise all around you and maximize it to its full potential. Now, with sound, you must have headphones. Speakers in this game just do not work. Fortnite has put in a lot of resources to make it as easily as possible for you to track footsteps and noise around you. So it does use the separate headphone attachment where if you have a left headphone and a right headphone, it will tell you if somebody is on your left or your right. So with that said, I do recommend investing in headphones. Now, I'm not saying to go right out and buy a set of headphones. No. You can simply use your iPhone and or Android headphones or any other set of headphones that you have that do distinguish left from right sound. You will be able to tell where the players are coming from, and that will increase your gameplay tremendously. Last but not least, I want to talk about number 4 in settings, and that is your colorblind mode. Now, a lot of people think to themselves, oh, I'm not colorblind. Well, I know you're not colorblind, but everybody sees color slightly different. Have you seen that game on YouTube or Facebook where some people say it's teal, other people say it's gray or blue or whatever? Well, that's kind of how the colorblind mode works. Everybody sees color slightly differently. However, I have found that Protanope works very well in my color strength. Not necessarily saying that the default colorblind mode does not work. I'm just saying that the Protanope works much better. It defines the graphics much more and it makes things a little bit more clear and easier to see. So I do recommend going into the colorblind settings and just kind of playing around with the Protanope, Detranope off, and Tretanope, I think is how you pronounce it, Tritanope. Play around with those settings, see which one works best for you. Like I said, Protanope on a colorblind strength of 10 works best for me. And again, it's not a matter of it makes a huge difference. It's just a matter of the fact that it defines the colors a little bit more, helps kind of edge things out, and it kind of just makes everything stand out more. Players, weapons, trees, things like that are a little more defined. So play around with that setting. Coming in at number 5, we have building. Now, building can go many different ways. One of the most important things, though, when you're building is to know when to continue to go up, when to stop and go back down. So, what I recommend to better enhance your building skills, since Fortnite unfortunately did not add in the playground limited edition mode, which they did add, but it was super limited, so it was only out for maybe like an hour at the most, and then they took it back down because people were flooding the servers trying to play it. But if it's not out when you're watching this video, if playground mode is not out, what you can do, go to Welling Willows or go to Moisty Mire, somewhere with a lot of trees. Just start chopping down all the trees. Start chopping them down and start practicing with your building up walls, turtling up, ramping up, different scenarios like that. Play around with it. If you guys want to see a full-on tutorial video of just building itself, let me know in the comments down below. And what I'll do is I'll make a tip guideline for when you're building up against somebody. And show you a couple of the techniques that I've used and when I determine, when it's a good time to just drop back down and reset the fight, or if it's a good idea, to keep going up. But definitely you want to make sure your building is on point, and the best way to do that, of course, is to drop into an area where not many people go, collect a bunch of resources, and just start practicing building. Then we have number 6 coming in at shooting. Shooting, of course, is one of the most important things, because obviously if you can't shoot somebody, you can't beat them. But the best way to practice your shooting is not dropping into the farthest end of the map and trying to avoid fights. The best way to practice your shooting is to drop dead into the middle of the action. I'm talking retail row, I'm talking tilted towers, places that are highly dense populated areas that everybody drops into. That is the best way to practice your close range shooting. And then of course for long range shooting, places like the retail row, somewhere that's a little more open, is a great place to try to practice your long range shooting, like with the rifles, assault rifles, sniper rifles, things like that. Going into like places like Retail Row, Tomato Town, places that are a little more open but still, a popular area where people drop down into, where you'll immediately get into a quick battle. That's a great way to practice your shooting. Another thing you can do, of course, when you're in the lobby, take advantage of it. Grab a gun and find somebody that's jumping around and just start shooting at them. Practice your aim. And this is also where that mouse sensitivity comes back into play. Adjust your mouse sensitivity. If your shots are not connecting, then maybe it's that your mouse sensitivity is too high or too low. So make those fine tweaks until you find that perfect balance. Number 7, we have muscle memory. Muscle memory is probably, up there with your building and your shooting. It's really important. And what I mean by muscle memory is like when we were talking about rebinding your keys, knowing where that wall or that stairs or the floor, things like that, it's important to know where they are. Because what happens when you get into the middle of a build battle, you don't want to think, oh shoot, where's my floor? Where's my stairs? You want to immediately be able to press the button. And this goes for gun mechanics as well. Always make sure your weapons are in the same slot every single match. What happens when you put your shotgun every single time in slot number 2, or slot number 3, or like I do in slot number 4 or 5 or 6, whatever the case may be, make sure you do it the same every time. Because what happens when you get into the midst of a battle and you're ramping up to somebody, or you're building up, or you just shot their wall down, or whatever the case may be, maybe somebody pops out from around the corner while you're chopping a tree or looting a chest, you immediately want to know what slot your weapon is, like what slot your shotgun is in, what slot your minigun is in, whatever gun you need to get to. You want to immediately have access to it, so that the second that person pops up, boom, you're right there, you got your gun out, you shot him. And by putting it in the same slot every single time, it will train your brain that immediately when you need it, your finger will quickly go right to where it is. Instead of having to look down at your inventory box and say, okay, I put my shotgun in slot number 5 this time, let me click on 5, or let me click on whatever. Make sure every single time, put them in the same slot every single time. This will help build a memory in your muscles of where your finger needs to click to pull out the gun that you need to pull out. Tip number 8 is build before shooting. Build before shooting is probably one of the most common sense things to do, but you would be surprised how many people will immediately just start shooting at somebody without putting down a floor first, or without putting down a wall or a ramp, whatever the case is. Always put something down. That way, when the person starts shooting at you, you have somewhere to take cover behind. Even if you have the high ground already, if you're up on a hill and you're shooting down, put a ramp below you. What that will do is give you that extra little height to get over. If they start shooting, you can easily back up. If they start shooting at the floor, you know where their bullets are hitting. Because if you don't put something down, most likely the bullets are going to be going straight for your head, because they're going to peep right over the hill or whatever you're on top of, whether it's a building. So make sure, always build before shooting. The second someone shoots at you, same thing. Your immediate reaction should be to start putting walls all the way around you, assess the situation, find out where the bullets are coming from, and then plan your next move, whether it be to build up higher to get the higher ground, or to try to run towards them and build walls in between yourselves while you get closer to be able to shotgun them down. Whatever the case is, make it happen. Build before you start shooting, and build as soon as you get shot at. This will help you dramatically in your fights. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten into a shotgun fight and I'm just like, oh, we're both on level ground, I'll just go for it. And then I end up dying, because it's like I should have just took the 2 seconds to build a wall so that I can have the higher advantage and I take control of the fight. Once you take control of the fight and you put that first, even if it's just a ramp to get on top of, you just took control of the fight. You're now above them. You're in charge. You have the upper hand advantage. Coming in at number 9, I'm going to have to say, is something that I am very, very much, guilty of, and that's tunnel vision. When you have something that you see or something that you need to get, and you pay no attention to what's around you, just go straight for it. That's called tunnel vision. This is one of the biggest things that will get you shot from the side, sniped from afar. Always pay attention, assess the situation around you. Don't ever focus in on one thing. Even if you're in the middle of a gunfight and you're shooting at somebody, make sure to pay attention to the sides around you as well. If you stop shooting for a second, look behind you, make sure nobody's coming up from behind, make sure nobody's about to snipe you from afar. Because what happens a lot of times, and I know everybody sees it, you'll finish a fight and you go to collect your loot, and the person was standing off to the side waiting for you two to battle it out till your health is low, and then they come in and wipe up the mess afterwards. Don't let that happen to you. Make sure you constantly assess the situation around you, and always look at your peripherals, look at your sides, make sure everything is clear before proceeding forward to either claim your loot or to collect a resource, or whatever the case may be, get a chest. Always assess your situation. Look to your sides, look behind you, look above you, and then even in some cases, look below you. Number 10, and this really isn't a tip. It's kind of just something that is, I think, very important, because I see a lot of videos out there where people get super mad, and they go in and they're like, screaming and yelling and punching their monitors, or throwing their keyboard, throwing their headset. So the number 10 tip is, don't give up. Don't just give up on something. It takes time. You're not going to immediately jump into a game and expect to come out on top because you were number 1 in, Call of Duty or Halo or whatever the case may be. This game, Fortnite Battle Royale, is not like any other game on the market right now. There is no game out there there's no game out there that comes even close to the way Fortnite works. Yes, you have the shooting mechanic in there, but that's just a very, very small aspect of the entire game that you're playing. The building, the way the guns work, the bullet drop, the click to hit, or whatever they call it, where you immediately tap the button and it shoots the person based on where your crosshair is, completely different than any other shooting mechanic or shooting game or battle royale game that's out there. So don't give up. Don't come into this expecting to be number 1 immediately. If you do, more power to you. But if not, Don't give up. Practice, practice, practice. Always, always watch more videos. Don't just watch this video and expect to be the pro. Go out there, watch more videos. That's what I did. I watched the pros. I watched a bunch of different videos of tips and tricks and all that stuff, and it helped improve my game dramatically because I wasn't just watching and saying, oh wow, they're so good. No, I was watching at what their secrets were. I was looking at the way they manipulate the game, how they, do different tricks and stuff to get above their opponents and take advantage of the situations. Pay attention to that. Don't just watch a stream or watch a YouTube video just to watch, somebody do good. Watch it so that you can make yourself better. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, the top 10 tips and tricks that I've learned through my journey through Fortnite Battle Royale. Hope it helps you. As always, remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. Make sure to hit that like button so everybody knows this video is amazing. And as always, remember to leave a comment down below, even if it's a simple thank you or a suggestion for the next video that I'm going to be releasing, or any comments regarding this video. Make sure to leave them down below. I always respond to every comment. Until next time, I'll see ya.